Transformers Rise of the Beast is out in theaters this weekend, guys, and did you go out and see it? This is my movie review for it. My initial thoughts coming out of the theater was, wow, oh my god, I can't believe it. It has one of those scenes in it. Transformers Rise of the Beast is one of those things where it's got a scene in it where people will be like, you gotta check it out for this. And it's a huge spoiler. We'll talk about that at the end of this quick review. But other than that, I really like this film. I like the robot stuff in this. I agreed that the human stuff was meh, but let's go over and take a look at the IMDb page here. It was 2 hours and 7 minutes. The runtime, how did that runtime feel? It felt like it was a bit slow to get going. Trying to establish all the human characters and their backstories. But once it got into the Transformer stuff, I was like, wow, this is good. From the director, Stephen Caple Jr., who did Creed 2, I thought he did okay with this. I still think I would have cut out a lot of the human stuff, but the synopsis reads, during the 90s, a new faction of Transformers, the Maximals, joined the Autobots, so allies in the battle for Earth. Now, guys, it says this took place in the 90s, so I was kind of like anticipating a lot of really cool needle drops. Unfortunately, I grew up in the grunge era. I grew up with Metallica's Black Album in the 90s. I grew up with Alice in Chains, Nirvana, Pearl Jam. That's 90s to me. This was more hip-hop, rap, 90s music. So for me, the soundtrack was kind of like, do I even know that song? Some of them I did. Some of the songs I did know. I'm not totally blind to the music scene, but I'm just letting you know that. So I was sort of expecting to hear more of the rock influence, but it wasn't there. The standouts for me were Mirage, who was voiced by Pete Davidson. Really cool. I came out and I said, this movie should just be called Mirage. Like, you know how the last movie was called Bumblebee? This one should have just been called Mirage. Focusing on each one of these Autobots, have their stories, and then have them all come together, with the next one being like Optimus Prime. Because they talked about stuff in this where it's kind of like they're questioning his leadership style and stuff like that. That's Scourge, that's the bad guy. But if you focus in on Prime, you deal with like his challenges as a leader for the next one. That's like, he should be the main character. I totally agree with that stuff. Stop with the human stuff. I know what you're trying to do, but you're just so misguided. The drama that goes on there between the Autobots and the Decepticons, that's enough to carry the movie. It totally is. And Peter Dinklage as Scourge, like, he was just so like unrecognizable. He just dove into it, like, and it was good. I thought Scourge was good. It had so many cool like shots in there with Optimus Prime fighting side by side when they're running towards the bad guys at the end. It was just so awesome. RC also was very fantastic. I do want that hot toy of RC. I someday want to put that on my desk. I thought it was very awesome. And then we got a whole bunch of other characters that I don't know who those were. They were just the henchmen of the bad guys. But the main characters, like the human characters, they tried to put in some stuff there with like the family dynamic. So his little brother's got some health issues and stuff like that. But Anthony Ramos, he won me over by the end of the movie. He did. And I like some of the questions of like, okay, we can destroy this thing, but the Autobots will never get back home. Like, I wish they would have ramped that stuff up a little bit more instead of trying to establish them as like somebody who's having trouble finding work and stuff like that, and fighting against the the powers that be, and like as like the troubles of getting work and stuff. I didn't need all of that stuff in my Transformers movie. I needed more Transformers, and Pete Davidson delivered for me. So I enjoyed it for that aspect. As I said, all that stuff was in the beginning. It's a bit long, but Unicron in this was the bad guy, and they handled him extremely well. And I know what they're doing. They're building him up to be like the big bad guy, like Thanos was in the MCU. And that's exactly what Unicron should be, because it's going to tie into the other movies that will be coming down the works. I just hope, for crying out loud, studio executives, please let the Transformers be the main characters. It'll be fine. It'll be fine if you do. We don't need to have a human character in there for us to relate to, because as I said earlier, there's animated cartoons that came out years and decades ago, and you didn't see a human character in that had to be like relatable, like this kind of thing, with like cats and stuff like that. And I'm just saying that the Transformers and the drama that's there, like I love that stuff between Optimus Prime and Optimus Primal, where it's kind of like, you're not the Prime that I thought I expected to see and stuff like that. And there was some damage there that Optimus Prime had. I wanted to go in and see. I wanted more of that, not a museum worker who's an intern who's like trying to find her way up the ladder. I don't need that. Let's go over and see what people are saying about it on the tomato meter. 53% by critics, 91% by the audience. And yeah, this is going to be one of those movies just like Fast X, where it's just kind of like the critics will give it lower, but the people coming out of the theater are kind of like, yeah, man, that last scene too. We'll talk about that in a moment, but that last scene and that reveal was just kind of like, wow. I want to see more of that. It had only one sort of mid-credit scene. It didn't have anything at the very end, at least on the viewing that I did. I, for a brief second, thought they were going to have like one really post-credit scene, but other than that, it just had like one minor mid-credit scene. So 53% by the critics. Let's see. They'll be just there. I haven't read it yet, but I'm going to just try to surmise that they'll say that it's just big CGI schlock fest. It doesn't have good pacing or stuff like that. Let's see what they said in their snapshot reviews. See if we agree with them. Okay. New York Magazine says, it's not spectacular enough to impress us, nor intimate enough to move us. It's just kind of there, ready to be consumed and forgotten. Forgotten. There are parts of this that could be forgettable. Yeah, as I said, the stuff with the museum stuff, whatever. Yeah. Another one from Wall Street Journal. Even with its abundance of action, the franchise's newest edition boasts little life of heart compared with its predecessors. As I said, the heart was trying to be like that brotherly dynamic between the human characters, but when it's kind of like one of them's not there and goes off on a road trip without notifying them, it's kind of like, well, who's taking care of that guy back home? Oh, we're not supposed to care. It's one of those kinds of things, right? So somebody who liked it from the Rolling Stone said, beasts encourage you to let your eyes glaze over through the plot exposition, and embrace the visceral nonsense. I wouldn't say that it's nonsense. Beasts is dumber than a box of hammers, but it doesn't drip with the rote criticism of, say, Fast X. And that's from somebody who liked it? My God, man. Seattle's Child says, we may lose regard for the gravitas of the film's premise, and we may know exactly where the film is headed, but it doesn't keep Rise of the Beasts from rising above and delivering a clean, fun monster romping good time. So, yeah, I kind of agree with that one. That one was pretty good. That's typical fare. As I said, guys, they gotta get rid of the human aspect of it, and it'll find its niche eventually. Obviously, I'm not going to rank it as low as a 5 out of 10, but I'm not going to rank it as a 9 out of 10. You guys know that I'm fairly measured when it comes to this kind of stuff. Acting was serviceable. The voice acting was the best part of this thing, which is, hey, if you're going to bring in people like Michelle Yeoh, Peter Dinklage, use them. And the scenes that they were in was phenomenal. Like, I like that stuff. I just make them the main characters, please. They're still not getting that memo through for some reason. I would, let me cogitate about this right now. Off the mark, I would probably say 7, but I might move that up here. Let me pull up a poll that's up on Joe Blow right now, ranking the best, your favorite Transformers movie. And this is just the live action ones, right? This is the live action ones. This is not the animated one they're including in this poll. Let's see. What would I give in here? Well, I did like Bumblebee. Bumblebee was good, and it's still my favorite because of Haley Steinfeld, right? And then Rise of the Beast would be the second one, and the first Transformers movie. Oh no, you do got the Transformers movie right here. Yeah, that's the best one. That's the best one. Then Bumblebee, then Rise of the Beasts, and then the 2007 one. That's what I would rank. Why is this poll page is really messing me up. So Transformers 2007 is the number 1, then Bumblebee, then the animated one. Wow. Well, only 93 votes. It's just a new poll, guys. That's up on Joe Blow. If you're curious about that and you want to participate in that vote, go over and vote. What's the lowest one? What's the one that really sucked? The Last Night. Revenge of the Fallen was terrible too. The Revenge of the Fallen one is the worst for me. Yeah, that one is going to be my least favorite Transformers because you made Megatron bow down to somebody called the Fallen. What? No, he would never do that. Megatron would. No one tells Megatron what to do. Yeah. So, some fun things out here, guys. What do you guys think about this score for Transformers? As I said, I was leaning towards 7, but I think, oddly enough, I'm going to give Transformers Rise of the Beasts a 7.5 out of 10. Because I would watch that last act over and over and over again. You got to deliver more of that, man. You can deliver like an hour and 40-minute Transformers movie that's all about robots. You can do that, guys. You can do that. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine if you do that. And people will come out heralding it as one of the best Transformers movies ever. Because it would be all about the Transformers. A Transformers movie all about the Transformers. How odd would that be? Yeah. But Pete Davidson, standout. Mirage, he was really cool in this. I thought they would go with the Goldbug storyline with the Bumblebee, but I was happy that they acknowledged the Haley Steinfeld version of Bumblebee. So I'm glad that they acknowledged that. So those two, I don't know what the time continuum is going to be like going forward. Are they just going to erase all the Bayverse movies? I would prefer if they just did that, bring in Megatron in the next one, and still have like Unicron be that big menace. I think it's going in a different direction now, where it's kind of like we're watching that stink off from the Bayverse movies, and that's a good sign in my book. So 7.5 out of 10 for Transformers Rise of the Beast. Fun time at the movies, guys. What did you think? Let me know in the comments below, and we will talk about it. You're watching Mirror Domains. All right, let's talk about that post-credit. Well, it's not actually, it wasn't post-credit scene. It was right at the last, it was the last shot of the movie. It was the last sequence of the movie. And I didn't clue into it while it was happening. I didn't. Anthony Ramos, Noah Diaz, who as an actor, as I said, he won me over by the end. But he was ex-military, trying to find work. And I didn't clue into it until the end that when he was getting recruited into this new position that he was going for an interview for, and the wall peels away, and it's like, if you're interested, come call us. And it's like, he turns the card over and it says G.I. Joe. I was like, because there was a comic book run with I did have one of the issues where it was like Transformers and G.I. Joe. I think it had like Omega Supreme on the cover of it, the one that I had. So like drive it towards that, guys. Drive it towards that. The G.I. Joe Transformers mashup with Unicron being the big bad guy that comes in at the end. have it like that, like Thanos. You can do this. You can do this. But the next Transformers movie has to be all about the Transformers. Bring it. Like, you can do that. And they should be tied together because it is fantastical. So hopefully G.I. Joe, I don't know what character he would be, but it just made sense to me afterwards. Like, yeah, he was ex-military. He's getting recruited into this stuff. And he was even wearing like that mech suit, right? I just thought they was paying like a homage to Spike from the cartoon and stuff like that with his exosuit or whatever. But that was vaguely familiar to some of the exosuits that the G.I. Joe had in the first couple of G.I. Joe movies, right? Like that kind of thing. Taking it a little bit of a different route, but I thought that was like one of the huge highlights of the film for me. So, yeah, there we go. Let's take some live comments now, and we'll wrap this thing up. Whoops. Arglass says, cool review. I'll watch Transformers midweek, seeing The Flash on Wednesday, too. Oh, yeah, Flash. Flash opens up this week, so we'll be talking about that as well. There are a lot of toy franchises I'd love to see adapted to movies like Thundercats and Mask toys. Yeah, people have been wanting Thundercats for a long time. The problem with Thundercats is that after the movie Cats came out, I am not so sure, and people's strong rebukes or disdain, prejudice to furries. I don't think seeing like a full-figured man that looks like a cat is going to be something that will win over the dollars. It's got too much of a negative image. Well, that's just my perception of the case. Okay, guys, as I said, it's a Sunday stream, so